Hello, hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. So, Mark Ruiz Evans, nice to meet you.
Aaron Bate, Boots on the Ground, Cali.
Oh, wow, that's what this flag is right here we're looking at.
Yes, sir.
And I noticed you got the matching cap.
Exactly.
So, oh, and the matching shirt. See, that's what we call branding. Look at this. Check this out. He's got the hat, the shirt, or the hoodie. Hoodies are exceptionally popular. If you sell them, hats are very popular. And then flags, common branding across the whole thing with the two boots. Good iconography, right? So he took an image that you already have programmed into your mind, and then he took other things you're used to, the California flag, attached that. It's called Inception. So you take something the brain's already used to, put your branding into it, and people get it. Very bright, very bright, very intelligent. So
I've been in sales for years. So.
That's why you knew how to do that. Okay.
Exactly.
So let's get right to the meat and potatoes. What is Boots on the Ground? Why are you having a rally here? Isn't everything just fine in California?
Are you kidding me?
You tell me. I don't know what's going on.
No, everything is a complete disaster in California. We're going underwater right now. Excuse the pun. That's why we're out here, is to fight for our water rights. Boots on the Ground, Cali, I'll explain that one really quick. We are a 501(c) nonprofit. We basically have been around for about 7-8 years now. We help people who are affected by wildfires, floods, natural disasters, you name it. We just spent thousands of dollars for the Caldor and the Dixie Fire. What we do, where we're different from the Red Cross and everything, you're welcome, is we collect supply donations. Or if you want to send me money now that I'm a 501(c), I will do the shopping for you. I've been doing this for, like I said, 7 or 8 years. Every year we've been out there, the first ones putting boots on the ground, getting supplies to people who are in need after a wildfire, or we sent out a 48-foot trailer to Texas when they had the big floods out there. We filled it with anything and everything you possibly need if you lost everything. So that's what we do. We help people. Thanksgiving, we normally give away a couple family meals for families in need, and Christmas. We help with different veterans organizations. We're actually under the umbrella of the Veterans Affiliated Council of Sacramento. That is where we got our 501(c) from. They saved me a ton of time and money and paperwork, and just allowed me to work under their 501(c). So we are an actual true nonprofit. But like I was saying,
That's smart. That's smart. Getting that paperwork, your 501(c)(3) or C4, is very difficult.
Yeah, and I have it now. I'm very happy to have
because
it.
Because they provided the intellectual infrastructure to walk you through the system and make it really simple.
Exactly.
And that's why, right? So it's difficult. If you know what you're doing, it's easy. But if you don't know what you're doing, and it's the first time you filed, like trying to figure out VCR instructions from the 1980s, right?
Exactly.
So, okay.
Exactly.
Sorry, I just like the pepper in info for the audience. So, are you a veteran? How associated is this with veterans? I noticed the boots seem to be...
My entire family was military.
Okay.
Both sides. Vietnam, World War II, World War I, you name it. We were pretty much in every one of the wars. Desert Storm, you name it. So I've always had very, very close ties. My dad was a military cop in the Air Force.
Okay.
So you know what I was raised with. So it just kind of... I've always been a diehard patriot. I love this country. I love this state, even though it's going to hell. But that's why I'm out here, is to fight, to try to get our rights back. I'm almost at any any rally out here. I try to get to everyone, and we host quite a few of them ourselves. So. I got drug into the politics, let me put it that way.
Yeah, and that's the only way a reasonable person ever gets in politics. I'm not reasonable, I'm nuts. That's why I optionally inserted myself in activism and politics. But if you are sane, you do not get into this unless you're tricked or somehow fall into the pit.
You don't belong here.
Yeah, this is not a place for normal thinking people. I tell you what, some of you can make it, but most of us nuts. Or you ain't here. That's just the way it is. Maybe it wasn't that way in the past. That's the way they made it now. You got to be fearless doing this stuff. They will ruin your life if you ain't up for it. So,
yeah, Antifa loves me. I'm on several of their wanted posters.
Really?
Sacramento, Berkeley, Portland,
What'd
Seattle.
You do that was so bad?
I'm supposedly this white supremacist.
Really?
Even though I've never had a white best friend in my life.
I'm Mexican. You want to shake my hand?
Sure, no problem.
Antifa, explain that. Look
Yeah,
at this.
yeah,
Look at this.
yeah.
She's hanging out with a Mexican guy. What are you gonna do?
And I can't be a Nazi either.
Yeah, bro. You want to come on camera? You want to?
Not really.
No. Okay. Well, no. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what's real, if I may. What's real is you go and you do activism and you protest. And then you happen to hang out with a few conservatives and say, you guys got a reasonable point. I'm going to put that on my channel. I'm going to say that. Or maybe you go to Texas and you say, some of you guys have a few points about your rights. And then Think Progress says you're a white supremacist because you hung out with people and one of them had the Confederate flag and you say, hey, I wasn't for the Confederacy, but I'm for your free speech. And then you get to call your mom, who's full-blood Mexican, and explain to her how, watch out, Mom, some of your friends are going to be calling you saying your son's a white supremacist. And then she laughs for 5 minutes, and then you have to explain to her the world is a place where people will actually believe that shit, and she better be ready. And then you get to deal with your mom crying for an hour because she realizes America's a place where a Latin guy could be called a white supremacist, and people will actually buy that shit. You were saying.
And they're also basically all white people anyways who are saying this crap.
Yeah.
Antifa, 99% of them are white.
Yeah.
Young, dumb, white kids.
Yeah.
College age, indoctrinated, brainwashed. We're out here fighting for our country, for our community, for our state, for our city, for whatever. We're out here fighting for everybody's rights. First, second, third, Fourth Amendment, you name it. Fifth, I don't care. If it's in the Constitution, I am out here supporting it, and I am out here fighting for it. And Antifa, you keep telling me you're going to show up, but I never see you guys. So anyways, I'm not worried about them.
Not encouraging any sort of physical altercation. What we're saying is, I think, tell me if I get this wrong, call me out. Don't threaten people.
Exactly.
Don't use intimidation. That has no place in politics. Go home if that's your way to do it. Now, you want to intellectually beat me and make me look stupid? Fine, take your best shot. But
problem is they're intellectually retarded, so
dumb, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm disabled. I can say what I want. So.
So you got started 8 years ago. Is that right?
Pretty much 7-8 years, roughly around there.
What was the impetus? Why did you jump in? What was the catalyst? What made you activate from normal Clark Kent into superhero?
Pretty much. The weird thing was I was starting to follow this on Facebook. It wasn't. The reason I'm in a wheelchair is because I had an aneurysm. I died twice. God's got a plan for me, and it wasn't what I was doing before. So I kind of got involved with Alicia Peterson. She did the 2016 Mega March. I had been involved a little bit before, but I really got involved when I hooked up with her. We were both part of another group called Taking Back America, where we had 3,300 members and nobody did anything besides sit on Facebook and bitch and whine. So I'm starting my own group. So Alicia and I, we started this, and she moved to Idaho. I'm still here fighting for California. So.
Well, we're going to play a fair game. You get to say one statement you want to make about what you think people should take away from your group, and then I'm going to ask you 2 tough, controversial questions, and whatever your answer is what it is.
Okay.
What would you like people to know about Boots on the Ground? If you had 2 minutes to explain it to them, and you were never going to see him again, but you had to get an idea through them. This is my favorite go-to example when I do interviews. You're in an elevator. You're never going to see me again. But I'm receptive. You got me. And I'm going to listen to whatever you think. What would you tell me that I can't get out of my head when I go home? What would you tell the camera?
It's pretty simple. Boots on the Ground Cali is all about helping people, period. The politics I get drug into, it's not so much the group. The group follows my name, not vice versa. So I'm the one who got drugged into politics. Boots is about helping people, period.
You got another minute, don't stop now. What do you want me to know? When I'm going to go home?
If you need something, you call me and we will try to help you out any way we can. This guy right here, him and another one of our members got us bicycles after the Paradise Fire for all the kids who lost their bicycles at that fire. These two made sure that they got one for Christmas.
Personal time spent fixing the bikes up for the kids.
That's what we're about, helping
Loved it.
people, Period.
I want to work with you guys.
Everybody loves the premise, and once they find out what we're really about,
you can come in camera. People like action. Come on, camera, say it. People like this. Is honestly, I know what I'm doing. Come in the camera. People like action. Just is it okay if she says something on the mic?
this is Joe. Everybody, she's from Southern
guys.
California.
I'm from Orange County.
Yeah, go ahead and talk.
Hi, I'm the president of Make California Great Again,
Oh,
and
great.
there's a lot
Awesome.
to say, but too much on this.
You guys like each other, right?
Too
You're
much.
okay with this
Oh,
standing
we
next to each
love
other?
each other.
Okay,
We
hugs,
love each other.
Hugs, yeah. What's going on here? What's this about? Why
Oh, it's so complicated. So basically, Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency in all 58 counties regarding the water, regarding all our counties' water. And a lot of people, especially in Southern California, have no idea that we're in a state of emergency regarding the water. But there's a lot of issues. So for instance, I spoke with Golden State Salmon, and they let me know that in the last run, they lost millions of salmon because of the lack of water, millions. And the water, according to Golden State Salmon, is being given to the almond growers who are growing almonds, not just for America, but for China. And I guess 70% of the almonds are coming out of California, right? 70% of the world's almonds. And so I think that we need a balance, because I believe we should never allow millions of salmon to die because of lack of water. In addition, we have the rice growers, the farmers that are trying to grow rice in the Delta, and they're suffering because of lack of water in the Delta. So we have a situation in California that we need to remedy, and hopefully this will bring attention to what is happening in California regarding our crisis, and hopefully we can solve some of the issues or solve some of the problems pertaining to our lack of water in our various counties.
That's great. That's great. What do you have to say about that? What's your consensus on that?
I agree with her. I mean, pretty much. I mean, I'm a fisherman myself, and I understand. I'm also a member of Golden State Salmon. It used to be coalition, now it's organization or something. But John and Kat, they are the ones who run it. Mostly Kat. John's the president. But there's enough water. We get enough water every year to take care of this entire state. The problem is the government is wasting it. They're sending millions and millions of gallons. And I'm not only talking about the Delta, where we have the Delta smelt, which, by the way, aren't native. And I don't know how the salmon survived before they made it into the ecosystem. But now all of a sudden they have to have that water for that. But people don't realize there are millions of gallons of water that are being pumped out in the ocean down in Southern California, and it's just being pumped out. It's going nowhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's plenty of water for everybody in this state for all of our different needs, but we need more reservoirs built. We need more desalinization plants built. There's plenty of rivers in this state to build more. Now I'm hearing SMUD, which is Sacramento's power supply. They actually take water from my county, El Dorado County, and that generates all of the electricity here for Sacramento. El Dorado County doesn't benefit from it, but now I'm hearing they're planning on going completely, green and whatever, where they're not going to need that water. Well, somebody else could use that water then. We can keep some extra water in Folsom Lake. Folsom Lake is a puddle right now. It's a mud hole, and there needs to be changes. They're talking about infrastructure.
Do you agree?
Oh, I agree with everything he's saying, and you're going to love Robert Newman, because Robert Newman, in his biography, actually dedicated an entire chapter to the water crisis in California. So he'll be talking about the reservoirs, and he'll be talking about Orwell Dam, and he'll be talking about how we can bring more water into California. So
Okay.
I don't know when we're going to get started
Well, I do want to ask you both one question. I was going to ask him, but I'd like to get the answer for both of you.
Oh,
I
sure.
want to throw a couple facts in. So some of the things they're talking about is that we already have more than enough water to supply 2 to 3 times the population of California. but the water goes primarily to ag, at least the overwhelming majority of it, and maybe it should. 90% of various fruits and vegetables for all of America and the planet come from California alone. So we do export it. Part of the problem, though, is alfalfa, almonds, and a few other products are water heavy. We're basically exporting our water,
Rice.
and we're not getting the amount, and rice, and we're not getting they're pricing it for the value of the food, not the value of the water. And so we're basically exporting water. The other thing we're doing is the federal government allows Nestle to take water out of the mountains on expired permits for only maybe $500,000 in the middle of a drought. The other thing is that when we have droughts and we ask for a state of emergency, and even when the president of America likes California and California's like him, like Obama, you get nothing at all. No infrastructure, no water fixing, no declaration of a drought. Now, Biden recently, in the infrastructure bill, supposedly is going to do some water infrastructure, but we've had a drought for 15 years. How come it takes more than a decade to get help, and how come Obama couldn't do nothing but drive down to Cesar Chavez's wife's house, take a photo, and then leave without meeting any of us? I got to tell you, that's a little bit disrespectful. I'm from the Central Valley. We need to start modifying things, and I certainly agree with the thing of balance. We don't think about water as a commodity. It's just something we use. Also, LA, Sacramento, the Bay Area have not invested in water recycling. So they're just dumping it while they're complaining about the lack of water. You guys have a lot of money. How about you spend some of that money on water recycling so you don't need as much and waste as much? And then my other favorite thing is the Delta smelt. Well, they've done studies on the Delta smelt. We did what they told us to do. Guess what? It ain't living. It's not surviving. So that plan didn't work. Well, you can take whatever opinion you want on, but we let the water run. It's not reviving the species. Ain't working. So let's give up on that plan because it didn't work anyways. Secondly, I always argue with Californians. Who made that decision? The federal courts. Now, I know we're super liberal out here, and I get it. But that was the federal government all the way through. That was the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Department. They had a scientist who still works there. She faked the research on the Delta smelt, fed it to a federal judge who accepted it. Another judge tried to undo that, and then a federal court backed it up, and then the federal Supreme Court refused to even visit the issue. So that's the federal government from lying all the way through to making sure that decision still happens here. And I get into arguments with Californians all the time. They're like, Mark, why are you bringing that up? That's an old decision. I live in Fresno. The Delta smelt decision affects us today. That was the federal government lying and federal judges covering it up. And so when people are like, California is so progressive and too liberal, and I get it, we are. But sometimes Uncle Sam is the one keeping us down, and it ain't just us.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, the Delta smelt, they're not even native, and they're basically an invasive species.
Well, let me ask you the controversial question.
Go ahead.
This is the one I've been saving. This is going to be a little bit awkward and a little bit uncomfortable, but I think it's going to be great, and people need to hear it. It's damn near impossible to be a conservative in California today.
I agree with that.
Most people are not welcoming of it. They're not nice. They're not kind. They already think nasty stuff. They say nasty stuff. And I'm from here, and I was born and raised here, and I love this place. But I've also started to get scared of this place.
Mm-hmm.
Why not run and hide? Why not flee? Why are you still here? That seems a little bit crazy. Why are you holding on when it's so tough and no one says thank you?
I was born and raised here in California. Basically, I was born in San Jose. Wanted to get out of that rat race, so I moved up to Placerville, California, which is in between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe. Love it up there. Conservative county.
I know a girl up there. Yeah.
I'm a diehard fisherman. I love our lakes, our rivers, our streams, the ocean, you name it.
On the ground.
Hoorah!
You guys advocate for
Water.
Answer him. I'll interview her.
Yeah, come on in.
Semper Fi.
I like you already because you're
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you. Thank
So,
you.
anyways, yeah, pretty much. I'm.
Why not leave?
Why?
Not go to Idaho. Why are you staying and fighting?
I get.
Nobody's helpful. It's so hard to be a conservative today.
I get claustrophobic when I get too far from the ocean.
What's your answer? Why not bail? Everybody's leaving. All the reasonable conservatives taking off. Why are you still here? Nobody likes us. We're always picked on. Why?
Well, I'm very Bible based, and so what would Jesus do? That's what I focus on first and foremost is God and the Lord. And so for me, yes, we're in a battle. We're in a battle for morality, is that the right word? I don't know. I personally chose the Republican Party because I feel the Republican Party is God-based. Every time the Republican Party has a meeting, we always pray. Today we're going to pray before the event starts. And what really disturbs me about the Democrat Party is that they believe in abortion. And so I personally, this is my personal view, I believe abortion is murder. And when you intentionally terminate a life, that's the definition of murder. And so because of abortion, I personally can never align myself with the Democrat Party. And I love the Republican Party of California. They work very, very hard. I love volunteering for them.
But with respect, the
yes.
question is, why not leave? Why not move to Idaho and still continue to fight for abortion? Why stay here in California when it's so harsh and nobody seems to like it?
Have you ever lived in Idaho or Utah or Arizona or Texas or Florida? Florida is not bad. I've lived in those states for a short period of time. There's a reason I always came back here. I live here. I mean, this is my home.
Well, I love California. I actually was born in Brooklyn, New York, and I love New York as well, but I really love California. And I feel, why be intimidated by what is happening here? If you're a godly person, you need to stay here and you need to fight for what is right. And my group, that's what we believe in. I don't think we would ever care to be shooed out. So we stay here and we fight for what is right. But also I do want to mention that my organization, Make California Great Again, from day one has been about unifying the American people. And I believe we should unify. We're against the strife. We're against the divisions. We're all Americans. We should all love each other and try to understand each other instead of fighting each other. So that's what I'm about. And,
Thank you.
well, anyway.
We're gonna end it there. We're gonna end it there just because people like it short and sweet. So you have heard from two of the organizers of this event today in Sacramento, protesting for freedom, protesting for water rights, but really coming from one side of the spectrum saying, I love this place, I'm from here, things are not working out. We have to fix them. And the reason I appreciate both of you allowing me to put a little bit of pressure on you, because I think it's very important, and it's a question nobody's really addressing. I did an interview with some of the top Republicans 6 years ago saying the Republican Party appears to be dead. What do you have to say? Well, it's still here. But the question I asked them at that interview is the same one here. It's hard to be a conservative in California today. There's a lot of hate. There's not a lot of love. You are the minority. They like to cheat, lie, and steal and do anything to you because they think it's okay. That's the way the game is right now. So I think if you're a conservative in California, you're like a freaking superhero, because this is not an easy climate to be in. It's easy to be a conservative in Nevada or Texas.
One other thing else about this state. This is the only state in this country that has everything else that the rest of this country has, all within our borders.
So we're almost like a self-contained country. We're almost like a nation.
We are a republic. The only two republics in the country are Texas and California. Do you notice that Texas and California both have a red star? Do you know
Yes, I do.
Republic?
Yes, it means they were independent.
We are the only two republics in the entire country.
California and Texas were both independent from Mexico for 10 years each. Texas is more well known, California not as much, but we kicked out the last two governors Mexico sent and said, we don't want you around here. And we weren't part of America at the same time. Great memory. So it's almost like you both saying that California is almost like a little country to itself. Am I getting that?
It kind of is.
Yeah,
I mean,
we love this state. We have great weather. It's very rare that I ever wear a coat in Southern California.
You got deserts, you have snow, you have ocean, you have rivers, you have lakes.
We got the international ports,
everything.
We got the international airports, we got
everything.
trade, we got Silicon Valley, we got the best universities, we got a big labor force, we have a hard-working blue-collar labor force.
Yeah.
And we have Disneyland.
And it's almost like if we were independent.
Hey, great America.
If we got these politics fixed up, we could almost be independent and be okay. Is that? Almost. Is that what
Yeah,
y'all
I
saying?
think
Yeah.
so. And you know what I think is going to drive this thing? We definitely have to stop the strife and the division. If we learn to respect one another and try to understand one another, I think, we're going to be a lot better off in politics in California.
I have faith.
We
in-
never used to have this problem until Obama came into office, and I even thought his first term that he was going to come in and do something great, and it never happened. What was his logo? Something about change, hope and change. Yeah, no hope and no
Yeah.
change. So, and the second term, I wasn't even paying attention anymore. Just going.
and I met a lot of people who said that about
Yeah.
him, and a
And
lot of
then-
them were liberal and African American. Just saying.
And then when
And you
Trump,
talk to them after a second term and go looking back, and they're like, I mean, we really thought it was going to be this, and it was this.
when Trump came in, a lot of people were like, hooray, a businessman. I've been hearing that for the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
We need a businessman
Yeah.
running this country. He came in, he fixed everything. My dad, diehard Democrat. When Trump ran, he switched parties to Republican and voted for Trump.
I personally don't like the guy, but
He did
Hold
a great
on.
he did a great job.
Hold on.
You don't have to like
Hold
him.
on.
I don't like most of the presidents we ever
Yeah,
had.
but
Can't stand
Yeah, but it's-
Governor Gruesome Newsom. So.
I will say this though, is that while I personally don't like him and had a big issue with some of the things he said, the fact is that half the stuff they said he did wrong, they lied about, and it's out now.
more
Now that he's-
than half.
at least 50% to 80%.
80.
And I'm coming from somebody who's, I was with you. I was like, I didn't like Trump and stuff. But folks, look at the stuff he said. It's all coming out now that Biden's president. Half the stuff he said that they were like, that's wrong, that's stupid, this is horrible, that's bad. Biden's doing, or they now think is reasonable, or it was a total fabricated lie. Like he wanted Russians killed. We don't need any border security's racist. Being worried about Muslim immigration at all is racist. Biden's doing all the same stuff, allowing oil pipeline, like half of what Trump's doing, Biden's doing. Nobody's complaining now, right? You got Mexican kids in cages. Democrats don't give a shit about that. I'm sorry, the New York Times called them out on that. So why was it racist when Trump did it, and now it ain't racist now?
The cages
How'd
are
it
actually bigger now under Biden than they were
Yeah,
Obama
and
or
the
Trump.
cages were built by Biden and Obama.
Actually,
and
the
now we got
original
Biden
ones
back.
were
Yep.
built by Obama.
That's right, and the child separation policy. So,
Yep.
we're going back to full circle, and half of what they said was wrong. The Sun article about Hunter Biden's relationship with Joe Biden being suppressed the week before the vote turned out to be completely true. The fact it was banned from every social media channel and every news station. All of those social media channels are now coming out, Facebook, Twitter, New York Times, going, whoops, that was a mistake. I guess we shouldn't have suppressed that article legitimately, which could have affected the election the right before. So it's all out there. It's all out there. Be as liberal as you want. Just if you got eyeballs and they're connected to synapses up in here, you're seeing it ain't working like they told us. It's all a lie. And at least half of it's garbage. So we need to start talking to people who have different of opinions than us, because what the media told you is wrong and is a lie and is putting us into a position where we're going to burn ourselves down to the ground.
And they want it to happen.
And they want it to happen, and because they're going to be in the high tower looking down and go, look at those fools. They did everything we wanted them to. Is that fair? Is that a reasonable
Yeah.
take?
Yes.
I
Can we
agree.
meet halfway on that?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
excellent.
Can we meet halfway on that?
Yes, sir.
Look at that. That's what they don't want to have happen.
Exactly.
We'll end it there while it's hot.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.